Mastu, which means I bow to the divinity in you. My name is Pastor Dr. Cleveland W. Eneas III, also known as Ka-Hun Anku. And as always, it is a pleasure to have you along with us for our weekly Sunday service. Those of you who are on Facebook, we encourage you to come down to historic Bain Town any Sunday at 9 a.m. for our weekly Sunday services, or any Tuesday at 6 p.m. for our weekly scriptural studies, as we are a teaching church, and we encourage you to come and question the things that you are going to hear this morning, as well as the things that you've heard in the past, and of course we'll hear. For those of you who did make it to historic Bain Town, our very first service of 2021, I gotta get used to saying 2021. And we welcome you again by saying Namastu. It's very, very good to see you all here. We made it through 2020, and we obviously keep in prayer the families of those who didn't make it through 2020. My family is one of those. My uncle passed from the COVID, and so we definitely ask for the prayers and the well wishes of all the people who didn't make it for whatever reason, whether COVID related or not. And with that being said, with us being grateful, we want to touch on the beginning. Everybody say the beginning. The reality of where we are at as a people is that we're very much confused about the scriptures. We're very much confused about God. We're very much confused about salvation. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out, because we have thousands of churches just right here in New Providence. I wouldn't talk about the Bahamas, but just here in New Providence, we have all of these different churches, and all of them claim to be, if not the way, our way to salvation. Amen. And that really should make anybody who's looking for salvation or wanting to learn more about the Most High to pause and question. Unfortunately, many of our people have just paused. They are not questioning. Matter of fact, many people have given up on church. They're going to just go to the club, they can get drunk, they can get high, they can just do what they call keeping it real. And for those people, you know, if you are, because we know, even for the people who say they don't care, we know you care. Especially when you really need some external, or we would say internal, intervention in your life. You understand? And so today we're going to talk about the beginning, and there's a spoiler alert. We're not going to make it to Genesis this morning. Okay? We are not going to make it to Genesis this morning. I know you think we starting in Genesis because we said the beginning, but this title for this sermon could have easily been Genesis is not the beginning. Oh, yeah. Yes. So the beginning. When did it take place? Some people say 6,000 years, some people say 10,000 years. You can read through the commentaries and you can find anywhere around, 10,000, 6,000 years in monotheistic Christianity, right? Or even Pale Islam, right? When did it take place? How did it take place? Did this God just sit in heaven and wave a wand or sprinkle some dust? Or we know he spoke, and of course they say it's a he. That's obviously something that we will get into and we can dispute. But for the sake of those who are only holding the monotheistic versions of the Bible, he. Where did this take place? Where did it take place? It took place in outer space. Did it take place in heaven? Why did God make us outside of heaven? See, if God had made us in heaven, we would have to go to heaven.
That's right.
Yes.
Interesting, eh? And so, with these questions, and we could ask questions all morning, many people are confused. And so we're going to start in Papyrus 1. All right? And we're going to start in the original books of the Bible. And why? Why are we going to start in the original books of the Bible? Because Alexander the Greek didn't care about us. Okay? Didn't care about us. They call him great. And he's great for them. And for those people who see him as great, more power to you. But Alexander the Greek didn't care about us. And furthermore, the Roman Catholic Church, Constantine, he didn't care about us.
That's true.
Yeah.
True.
And furthermore, King James, he didn't care about us.
No.
And so, if we know that these people didn't care about us, why are we focusing on their translation? Why would they write a translation of the original scripture that would benefit us? Like they always ask. We went through this horrible ma'afa, this slavery. Did they give us the best food?
No.
No, they gave us chitterlings, they gave us the pig feet.
Scraps.
All of the stuff we call cultural foods today, slave foods.
Yes.
They didn't give us the best food. What about accommodation? We had the air conditioning. We were in the Bahamas. We would have needed to be cool because we were working and we needed to be cool. So I'm sure they would have had air conditioning for us. And after a long day in the fields, you would need to lay down in a soft bed. So you could be well rested for the next day to work. That's what they did, right?
No.
We didn't have good accommodations. So the best food, we didn't have the best food. You would think they would want to give us the best food so we could work better.
Right.
They didn't give us the best food. They didn't give us the best accommodations. They didn't give us the best clothes. But for some reason, they got people around there thinking they gave us the best religion.
Exactly.
After you didn't give me all of this food and accommodations and clothes, treated me like crap, God stepped in and said, but here's your religion though. That makes sense. That don't make sense. And the people who saying it makes sense, only saying it makes sense because they're afraid to say it don't make sense. But God knows your heart. You understand? God knows, you know that don't make sense. Yeah? So we got to start in the original books of the Bible. And what's so sad about our people is that we don't even think that there is an original scripture. The moment we say the original books of the Bible, people say, well, where you get that from? God. Didn't your Bible come from God?
Right.
Yes.
Didn't you say men inspired by God wrote the scriptures? Well, the original books of the Bible come from the Most High Heavenly One and narrated. You say God. Yes. And this original books of the Bible has 73 books and 14 papyrus. Okay? And so the very first book, and I'm going to need some help today. Someone can just stay right on page 3 because we're going to be going through these books. All right? The very first book is the book of creation and before. The book of creation and before. And so remember we said we ain't going to get to Genesis today. So if you tuning in to listen to Genesis, we ain't going to be next week for Genesis. Okay? We ain't get to Genesis today. The title of this book is Istakhlaq. Istakhlaq. I-S-T-A-K-H-L-A-A-G. Istakhlaq. Comes from the Tamaraic. The Tamaraic is the language of the ancient Africans. And it comes from this word khalaq. Khalaq. Alright? Let me just put some of these words up for people who may need to see it. Alright? So Ba, Istakhlaq. And it comes from this word, chalak. And the word akhlaq. Okay? Language is what?
Key.
Language is key. If you ever doubted the reality of the original books of the Bible, all you have to do is go to the language. So this word istagla comes from the ancient African or Tamaric language word khalaq and akhlaq. And these words both mean to create or simply to grow. Everybody say to grow.
To grow.
Okay? As such, this first, and we're coming from page 29, for those who want to follow in the original books of the Bible. As such, this first papyrus and its 14 books are amongst the world's oldest records dealing with the creation of both the visible, physical universe and invisible, etheric universe. So at this stage, okay, we're not even talking about the physical world yet. And that would make sense because the Most High Heavenly One can't only exist in what we refer to as the physical realm. Amen? As such, this papyrus and its corresponding 14 books will answer for all members of humanity who read it many questions which have been posed for well over 2,000 years. We've been asking these questions and we'll be getting, just answers that pacify us long enough to put something in the collection plate and come to church. Yeah? No real answers. Yet have remained a mystery. Everybody say mystery.
Mystery.
Everybody say my story.
My
It made my story a mystery. All right? That needs to be solved in order that the minds of all members of humanity be made free from the curse of sleep and ignorance as they pertain to creation. So you can't finish right if you don't start right. So if someone has come in and interfered with the very beginning, the very origins of the story, well, after that it's pretty much downhill. Amen? And so this word istakhlab comes from khaluk or akhlaq, and even one of the attributes of the Most High Heavenly One is Yil Khaliku. Yil Khaliku. Everybody say Yil.
Yil.
Khaliku. All right, the creator. All right, that's an attribute. So of course, we understanding that language is key. We want to look in the etymology. We want to look at the etymology of this word begin or beginning. All right, so this word begin, before we say what it means, what does it imply? To start, okay. The first, okay. Commence. Okay, beautiful. All right, because that's what somebody wanted us to think.
Yes.
Yes? This word begin, as they say, it's a verb. And it means to attempt. To undertake. Everybody say attempt.
Attempt.
Everybody say undertake.
Undertake.
So, does this word, the beginning, have to mean that this is the first beginning?
No.
Because you can attempt something over and over and over again, yes?
Yes.
They say it's a rare word beside the more usual form, onginon. All right, they say a class 3 strong verb. That sounds like something to drink. That sounds a little heavy. That sounds like top shelf. Class 3 strong verb, past tense, ongain, the past participle, ongunen. From be plus the West Germanic ginan, which is of obscure etymology and found only in compounds. Perhaps, and this is important, they say this word means to open or open up. So this could very well, as a word, we could have said the opening. And this is important because in the African theology, which they're trying to hide from us, by the way, in the African theology, the opener is known as who? Tar. T-A-R. Or sometimes it is misspelled as P-T-A-H because they were saying twa, like when you spit twa. Twa. Yes, P-T-A-H, but the correct spelling is T-A-R, and it means the opener. And they say this word, they say compared to the old German in Yunnan, to cut open, to open up. Again, they say to begin or to undertake. So right here in the actual meaning of the word, you see this reality of opening. And this is important because when we go to the African theology, there is a guardian angelic host named Tar that is there and that is speaking. This Tar, the opener, all right, speaks. This word Tar is a word that in the Shemitic languages is a word for key, to open, maftuha. Yes, and they say the key unlocks the door. Okay? And this Ankh that many of our brothers and sisters feel is a pagan symbol is really a key. Because this Ankh is a symbol of 4 schools. Matter of fact, when you spell the word Ankh, you're spelling an acronym. A for what? Anu. But they'll say On or Heliopolis. N for Nut. The Greeks will say Thebes. All right. K for Kemenu. Okay, which the Greeks called Hermopolis. And then H, Het, Ka, Tar. Okay, so this 4th society, earth, wind, water, fire, this 4th society was headed by one called Tar. Okay, and so the creation story that you're reading in the book of Genesis is pulling from this reality of the original books of the Bible. And of course, the books that we're talking about now are the first 14 books before you get to the African Genesis called Bereshith. Very important. Okay? So what's an undertaking? An undertaking, they say, is an enterprise. Because they say the word beginning or begin means to undertake. All right? And they say it is an enterprise. All right? And they play a trick on us because they say undertaking means enterprise. Or they say it's from undertake. All right? They say setting out on a quest that you are unsure of.
This was the beginning.
This is still beginning. This is still beginning. Setting out, because that's what an attempt means. An attempt means you're only attempting. Oh no, God knows everything. God knew exactly what was going to happen. Really? That's why God put the tree in the garden and told Adam and Eve, don't touch it, because he knew what was going to happen. What kind of sick-minded individual would do that to people? That's like me putting candy in front of my 5-year-old and saying, no, don't touch it. They're going to watch TV all day. Just don't touch the candy. Okay, all right, Daddy. You know at some point they can touch the candy. Yeah? Well, it's a good chance that they will. This word enterprise, they say it means an undertaking. Formerly also enterprise, from the old French enterprise, an undertaking. Keep seeing this word undertaking. All right? To take in hand. Remember this word hand. Okay? To seize. Oh. To seize. Because in the African theology, what was actually taking place? This book, by the time as you get to the book of Bereshith, this is after the second major meteorite shower. I'm going to talk more about this next week. But after this meteorite shower, there's a period of over 2 million years where those who survived the meteorite shower are not on the surface of the planet. They're living in lagoons, they're living in the world. That's why they'll say you shouldn't have any God above, on the earth, or in the earth. Because these people had to survive in the earth. There were certain tribes that survived in the earth. So what is taking place, or what will take place as we talk about it, is a group of Naturu Elohim, who they call God, waiting for the perfect moment to seize upon a recreation. Okay? So this is what the undertaking ultimately was. But remember, we're not even in Badashith yet. All right? The word beginning comes from the word ginen, beginner. They say this word beginner is a founder or an originator. Okay. Because Ta is seen as a what? A founder and an originator, because Ta utilized 3 primordial forces to create the physical world, to create the world that we live in. This is coming out of the African theology. This is a theology that existed way before what you call Greco-Roman monotheistic theology. Okay, we have to make that very clear. So this founder had to have existed before that which he and ultimately they were creating. Okay? This is what is referred to as the primordial state. Everybody say primordial.
Primordial.
Versus the primeval state. Say primeval.
Primordial.
Because here in the Bahamas, in Nassau, we have a forest called the what?
Primordial.
Primeval. Not the primeval, they call it the primeval forest. And we can touch on this primeval versus primordial as we move on in our sermon today. All right. So that was the word begin. Now beginning. Why are we doing this? We have to set up a proper foundation in order for us to understand and appreciate the beginning. If we don't understand the beginning, we have no clue. I don't care what title you have. I don't care how fancy your robe is. I don't care how big your cathedral is. You don't know, and if you know, you ain't teaching it.
Come on.
So it's best you say you don't know.
Come on.
Because that'd make it even worse if you know and ain't teaching it. Yes?
Yes.
So this beginning, they say the initial stage or the first part. The initial stage. Because it doesn't say at the beginning, it just says in the beginning. In the hour could be 12:05 or 12:55. Both are in the hour. At the hour is 12 o'clock.
Yes.
But they said in the beginning in the monotheistic teachings. But this word beginning means an initial stage or first part. And they said it is a verbal noun. Now what's a verb?
Action.
An action word, and then the noun is a what?
Means a person.
A person, place, or thing. But it's a verbal noun. So this noun is doing something. Who is this noun? This noun is Ta. But Ta is a person, Ta is a place, and Ta is a thing. Because Ta, being a person, is Ta. But then Ta is also a place called Ta Earth. And then Ta is also a thing because Ta is an event where something is being created. So this Ta is a person, a place, and a thing. Remember now, this is the etymological dictionary. This ain't coming out of the original books of the Bible. This is just being able to look at what they have put out there with African eyes. Everybody say African eyes.
Africanized.
Okay? So this event was an event of setting things into motion. All right? And then it goes on to another word, ambi, or ambihi, which means front or forehead. All right? So we have to make sure we remember what we just talked about, because it's going to come back up. All right? But let's take a look in the African book of creation and before, because it predates the African book of Genesis called the Bereshith. I'm going to keep saying that because 14 different things, 14 different situations, 14 different events took place before Genesis. Or even the Bereshith. You understand? So by the time you get to the Bereshith,